Welcome back to another episode of Beck the Vet Podcast. Today I have a special guest and he goes by the name of Carl Hairston. He is the Greener Good LLC. He has a processing license for cannabis, and we're going to sit here and get to know him today. So welcome to the platform. How you doing today?
Thank you. Greetings. Thank you for having me today. Appreciate being on the podcast.
Not a problem, not a problem. I appreciate you for coming on. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how do you think that helped shape who you are today?
Yeah, I hail from the great city of Norfolk, Virginia. I like to say everything else by Norfolk. And I'm the legacy of longshoremen in the NFL.
Oh wow, nice. Can you tell us a memorable childhood memory?
Yes, my most memorable childhood moment was pulling up to dockside in my grandfather's boat, and all my family jump out, and we get a table.
Oh, so you had a boat. Well, you are Virginia Beach. We both went to Kinsville High School.
I'm a beach kid.
Yeah, so I graduated in 97. You was a year behind me, I believe, 1998.
Correct. Correct.
Absolutely. So how do you think your close friends would describe you?
Obnoxiously ambitious.
Obnoxiously ambitious. I like that. So did you have any role models growing up, or who inspired you the most?
So, granddad, was very prominent longshoreman and was in charge of over 50,000 men when he left his post. And my father is prominent in NFL as well. So between their encouragement in the house, I really didn't have any role models besides Michael Jordan and Mike Tyson.
Those are two big ones. What are some things you enjoy doing outside of your profession?
I'm an avid chess player. Um, I'm let me see, I'm Oxbow Tiger Stripe on chess.com if anybody wants to try me. But I'm a avid chess player, and if thank God this went through, because if not, I would have been probably pursuing a chess uh, mastery license.
Nice like that. Okay. I like that. So are there any books, movies, TV shows that have influenced your mindset or perspective?
Yeah, I really like Ocean's 11 and all that the movies after that, and I really like Harlem Nights, and those are team movies where a team of intellectuals overpower you, and so I love movies like that, and so yes, those are my top two.
Those are two very good movies, and I see you're into like strategic critical thinking. So absolutely. Those are good movies or prime examples of that type of thinking. What's a
I hate to say it. I hate to say sometimes I'm Wolf of Wall Streetish, but I have to throw that in there too. So
okay? What's a fun or random fact about yourself that most people don't know?
most people don't know I tried to start a band at one point in time, and so probably like a reggae rock band kind of, right? And so I was lead singer, but I played lead too for guitar, and so I think most people don't know
I
that.
did not know that. Absolutely not. Any particular brand of guitar specifically?
I like Ibanez, but I can deal with a fat Fender normally, kind of like a Stratocaster. I like something with a thinner board, and like I said, I'm a little bit of a whittler, right? But I whittle in the house, so.
Okay. Will you ever try to be a part of a band or anything like that, or just
I
solo?
think about it these days, I think about it in a different capacity. I think now I would want to be more of an A&R if someone wanted me to do work. I think I would be more A&R suited, if not to compose music and probably be more production.
Okay. Let's get into your entrepreneur side of things. I know you have the company Greer Good, and like I mentioned before, we both went to Kinsville High School. So back in high school, can you or did you ever imagine you would be owning a processing license within the cannabis industry?
So I'm gonna say yes, and the reason being is I had many omens growing up. One of them was I was bought a high pressure sodium light when I was about 18, but I think that was about 1,000 watts. It will melt your blinds off. And I had friends in North Carolina that were doing cultivation when it definitely wasn't a good time to do cultivation. So, I, in clandestinely, yes.
Okay. So, what was your first introduction into the cannabis industry, and when did you decide to turn it into a career?
So, my introduction was uh, a gentleman named Anthony Darby, who was a dispensary winner and operator here in Salisbury, who would just basically let me pick his brain and get any time I needed and talk to whatever personnel to kind of, give me some introduction so I'm just not a layman to the industry. What was my motive was causical, where I was uh, notified by my mentor that they had not awarded any more licenses to minority applicants. And so when I found out that, I basically kind of put the paint on my face and pursued the license, knowing that they didn't award any more minority applicants.
That kind of goes into my next question. Like, what inspired you to take the leap from consumer enthusiast to entrepreneur side of things?
Yeah. And
And that was
so,
the
again, yeah, it's the same answer, but to put it into context, I believe they awarded 14 licenses to the state, right? And
in
they
the
didn't give
state of,
any licenses to
and this was
Maryland.
Maryland.
The state of Maryland in 2018, they awarded 10 licenses to the state to do recreational cannabis. And so I was called in 2018. And so for 2 years, I built a causal license to apply in 2020, where they only awarded 14 licenses again. In the 14 licenses that were awarded, they found fraud and collusion through the commissioner. And the first week that we were told we didn't have a license, and then the second week they called us because the people that had cheated us out through bribery and commission, they bumped us up into the last 14th spot. And so we were number 14 out of the 14.
Wow.
And so in 2020, our license was valued, really high. But again, I pursued the license. Obviously, there was money to be made, but they denied all minority applicants. And so, I said, I'm gonna put that to the test. Right. And so those are my reasons for pursuing the
Now,
license.
did they give you a cause of the denials, or they just say not approved?
Well, they say not approved. Well, it's a meritocratic license if there's no bribery, right? So the best license wins. And so, later on in these questions, there's another point I touch on, but the best license wins, and they notified you of the collusion and stuff like that because they had a third party investigator go through the the licensing awarding process, and so. We were notified. It was a little bit of a soap opera for a moment, right? And so, but we did get a little notifications, and we did know something was wrong, but it was from the state. Hopefully that answers the
Oh
question.
yeah, absolutely. It actually kind of goes into my other question or the next question. Like, what are some of the toughest hurdles when you face in getting your processing license off the ground? Was it the laws, the financing, the stigma, like you mentioned before about denying minorities, or getting the certifications for it?
Yeah, so getting the license itself was its own Game of Thrones, and then financing a $5 million license with no banking infrastructure, no nothing that came before you. It was the largest hurdle and challenge. And so something that's equivalent of worth $5 to $7 million that can generate $5 or $7 million might need $3 to $5 million to get started. And so that was a challenge in the beginning, was financing or being creative enough to figure financing to stand something up like that. That was my largest hurdle.
Okay. So how do you keep your greener good company competitive with so many others that are popping up across the country?
So we're still in our place of launching. The operations will be ready in quarter 1, but I think up to this point, I've had a very good team. I think I've got a great five, in the lack of better terms, right? I've got a good five, and so I think I've got my five lions, and so I think with a good team, anything can be done, and I think that's how I remain competitive. I'm competitive myself, but I keep four other lions around me.
All right.
So,
Can you break down a typical day, what it looks like when running your cannabis business?
So when running the cannabis business at this place, the factory is still being built out. So I'm getting weekly check-ins on the framework of the building, and then we're doing weekly check-ins for uh, marketing and product development and then financing. So it's a lot of meetings. Every day is a meeting to some extent. And so, yeah, I wake up, I check to see how many meetings I have. If not, I'm polishing what I want to say at the meeting before that time. So it's a lot of different documents and a lot of meetings.
So, do you think the cannabis industry is heading towards full federal legalization in the future, in your opinion?
And so my answer, my answer is I see the banking to have to come first before uh, reclassification, decriminalization, or federal legalization. Right? I think the banking will come first, and the way I explain that is presidents can make executive orders that aren't necessarily congressionally or agreed to, but the banking will be a congressional process. And so I think until the Congress agrees to the banking, there will not be federal legalization.
Okay. Are you involved in any community outreach programs, education, partnerships tied to your Greener Good company?
So I am not at the moment. We don't have any philanthropic partnerships. We do have industry partnerships as far as different relationships with dispensaries and cultivators, if not partners in our building that are cultivators. And so those are the partnerships I have, but none of it is philanthropic.
Let's talk about your future plans and reflect a little bit. So, what advice would you give to someone interested in starting their own cannabis business?
And so my advice would be to use the university to all of your advantage in whatever capacity that is, because that was my advantage in the beginning.
Do you have a
It was a
specific university or one that you recommend?
well in concept. We're not giving you guys too much sauce here. There's a relationship you can develop with your university based on your wheelhouse of study, right? And so how do you apply that to a cannabis license? And I think from there you can pursue the license because you can pursue it from a strong footing of your wheelhouse, right? And so I think that's my advice to people that say, "Hey, I think I want to get a cannabis." Okay, what's your strong suit? Boom. Let's work from there out towards the license. And so with the university, that would be my advice.
Okay. Where do you see the Greener Good company in the cannabis industry within the next 5 years?
I see us being quite successful. I just think it's kind of driven. If someone wants to kind of buy us, not like they were for sale, but I suspect, offers as well. So I suspect us doing well with, a lot more offers. We're getting ready to be in different states. So I see us doing well. I see us maybe standing up as one of these, well, not a part of the few multi-state operators that are minorities in the nation in the next 5 years.
All right. And like I mentioned before, we went to Kinsville High School in Virginia Beach, Virginia. So do you run into old classmates and what is their reaction when you tell them what you're into now?
First thing when you say this, I had to think for a second and make sure everybody knows Kempsville High School in Virginia Beach, Virginia, in Kempsville. Let's be clear, right? It turned out some strange individuals, right? And so I just want to just sign off to all of us, as a tribe where I know we're quite strong tribe. Do I run into people these days here and there? Not as much because I'm siloed off here in Salisbury, but when I do run into people, people are of the manner of I already knew, or I told you so, or I kind of whatever, and then other people are like, wow, why, how did you do it? And so it's a little bit of mix of both between, I already knew you could do it, and holy smokes. So
Absolutely. So where can people find you on social media in case they have any questions about getting a processing license, cultivating, or just getting into the cannabis industry altogether? Where can they find you?
You can find us on Instagram at official verdigris. And so that's our brokerage, and we'll kind of take all our questions there because we're still a cannabis business. So, but I'm taking all questions at official verdigris on Instagram, VERDIGRIS.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Well, I am Beck the Vet as I continue to honor the past, build the future, and serve the now. And I have my friend Carl on here talking to us about cannabis and his company, Greener Good. I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thank you, thank you guys.